Hi, I'm Mark and welcome to my channel, Book Ramble. This is a tag and it's thanks to Seanin's Shelf, the Booktube Viewing tag, which I have a list of about 4 or 5 to do. This happened to be at the top and I realised once I looked at it, it's actually the newest. Anyway, so those who have tagged me and waiting for my response, I am going to get there. And it's all to do with watching fellow booktubers. There are 8 questions, and I think I have to tag people at the end. Supposedly the 8th one is optional. I'll decide whether they answer that when I get to it. Question 1. How many channels are you subscribed to? I'm assuming that's Booktube, and I don't know the answer. I'm just looking as I speak. There's been some time between when I originally asked that to the camera and now, because I couldn't find it. I now worked out by going elsewhere to find it. It says all subscriptions, new activity, most relevant A to Z, but it doesn't tell you how many as far as I can tell. And unless I go around counting them all, there's a lot. Possibly in the low hundreds by now. There's a reason, is that when I started, I was given a shout out by MJ. It was really appreciated, wonderful. And others since have done something similar. And one of the things that I think I really found very beneficial and very gratifying was to receive traffic who came via MJ and subscribed, potentially would not have met me or would even have known I was there in existence. And they subscribed, and we regularly have conversations, and it's been really, really a wonderful experience. What I'm conscious of is that little boost really helped. It's just gratifying to know that people are willing to, although it's free, what's the saying? Smash that button. In other words, they subscribed. So what I do is that I always look out for newbies, fellow newbie booktubers, and I'll go and I'll sub for support and generally then start commenting if I can, because obviously when you start going up in big numbers, you can't keep track of everyone. But occasionally on the feed, they'll come up, and if I've got time, I'll go and listen and I'll say hi. But generally, just giving that subscription support means a lot. So I don't know how many channels, but it's never enough. And I'm going to keep supporting anybody who's new or under 500. Likewise, thanks to Julie at Bookish Travels, who started a Discord channel, Club 500, for anybody who does YouTube and is under 500 subscribers. And as she said, if you happen to fall over that number, you can still remain. Now it's filling up with people. And again, opportunity to go and support them and provide certain things that, although it's not really, I guess, something we want to be focused on, but does help, such as commenting and liking and subscribing. So I intend to get far more than I got now, even if it's in the thousands. So not enough for the answer of number 1. Number 2, when do you normally watch Booktube? I'm lucky in that I work 4 days on, 4 days off, 3 days on, 3 days off. So those times I'm off, and it's specifically outside of school holidays, because my daughter and my grandson live with my wife and I. But generally I've got time to myself, so I'm lucky. I can devote hours in a day for the majority of the week. But generally I'll look at Booktube when I'm creating, or something's come up in a feed, and I'll just go and look. I'm doing 2 other channels as well, not just with the Booktube. So I suppose it's become my hobby. And there's never a problem when you watch or do things for your hobby, right? So there's no normal set hours. I'll just do it as and when, but more often than not. 3. How do you balance Booktube watching, reading, and making your own videos? I don't think about it. I just do it. I'm not trying to get a certain amount done in a certain amount of time. I'll just let the universe take control, and if I'm doing 1 a day, if I'm doing 1 a week, so be it. There'll be times when I'm off, and I won't be doing anything for days. In fact, right now, I'm recording this December the 15th, But in the YouTube studio, I've already got videos up until the end of January of 2025. And that's deliberate, so that I never feel the pressure that I've got to get something out quickly. They're already banked. So the balance of Booktube watching and reading, I guess the reading is the most, whenever. So right now, I'll give you the 4 books out of one, I'm not going to say how many, there's dozens, that I'm reading. So I've read this when I got up this morning, just before breakfast, and then I read a piece of this probably a couple of hours ago. I'll read this, probably 1 or 2 pages sometime this afternoon, and then probably in the evening before I go to bed I'll read some of that. When I say read, I'm not reading the whole book. I'm reading 1 or 2 pages, and then there's a circulation of books. Some are going to be with me for some time because of the sheer size. I've already done an episode which is banked, not out as I'm recording, but it will be by the time this comes. I don't know. I don't know when this is going to go up. This may go up before my first one on this. Big one. But I've done an episode, and I have read, you can see all my notes, only about, I'll tell you where, page 30. It's August 1915, and there's all this to go. I'll read 1 or 2 pages, make notes, and then come back. But that thing's going to be with me for some time. Say, so what? I had a book once, in the way I read, that was with me for almost 2 years. Wonderful. So I don't worry about the balance. If I thought about the balance, I'd just fall off it. Is there a difference between videos you like watching and videos you like making? Oh, absolutely. Well, it depends on what videos. If we are restricting it to, say, Booktube, pretty much similar. We'll be talking or reporting on a book. But I don't look to think, oh, I should be doing that, or how is mine different? I just do the books I want. I'm not really comparing differences, because we're all unique. We're all different flavours that can help our palate. Some will be talking about books that I need to get to like. Some will be talking about books I already know. It's just a smorgasbord, and I prefer it at that. But I never see a difference. You know, you could say, what's the difference between a curry and a salad? Well, you could go through sweet, sour, salt, bitter, umami. You could talk all about that. You could talk about mouthfeel. You could talk about presentation. It's food. And I love food, but that's not the point. The thing is, you can either see it differently, or it's the difference that make them all the same. I just like to bathe myself in the different variety of videos that people make. 5. Who is the first booktuber you subscribed to, and do you still watch them? I think it was MJ, and yes. MJ, I think if I remember the timing, I put out the first video is a Hello Booktube newbie tag. Went off to work, came back, and suddenly, back within 2 days, people started coming towards me. And I cross-referenced, and some of the comments said, oh, we came here via MJ. So I went straight to MJ, listened, saw what she said about the channel and others, and that was the first subscription. And well-deserved, MJ, thank you. 6. Who is the most recent booktuber you subscribe to? Oh, I've got to go through this process again, hold on. Obviously, I aren't very good at this. I believe if I go to manage, I can do most recent, can't I? No, it says most relevant, new activity, or A to Z. That doesn't tell me who I've subscribed to. I can't remember. Well, actually, I do know. I should know, because if I go to the Discord channel, it will remind me who. Yeah, it is Reading Off My Shelf. She's in the Club 500. Just come a member, saw her, subscribed. I think I've already touched base with her and left comments. What have you learned from watching other booktubers? Well, I've not seen every booktuber. There's booktubers that have been around for years, anything up to 10 years. I'm aware of them. I don't necessarily follow the big ones, like Seanin said. Effectively, I don't know, I get this feeling that we've got the newbies coming in who are forming a small and supportive group. And then over there are some of the big guns who probably look our way. I think some have subscribed to me, and I have done so in reverse. But I do know that I had a channel before it no longer exists. I got rid of it, and it was the History of Rome. I've been going about a year. That was 1,500 subscribers, I think, when I ended it. But I was losing track of who was subscribing, and it was difficult to keep apprised of people who were trying to contact me and say hello. So I am aware that there'll be some big people out there that, they're focused on their own projects, may not necessarily be aware of people such as myself. Then why would they be? But what I learned from them is that they may be focusing on stuff that I'm not, and vice versa, obviously. But that's good, because we're getting out to people who watch the channels, probably exposing people to books that we love, but they may not have come across. So I've learnt to believe and really like what you're doing and to put out there and just be yourself. Booktube is a wonderful, vibrant community full of excellent people who do it out of sheer love and joy. But it's one of these things that some will strike it instantly as a 6,000 to 8,000 plus community. At the same time, you've started where you may be only on 100 subscribers. It's just one of these strange things that the landscape is, that you're threading your way through. But how fascinating is that, to be engaged in it? And I think I've just learned that generally the people who are certainly reading the books that I'm interested in and who are commenting, like-minded individuals, that we're there to really be guardians to books, get people more interested in books. And I'm learning there's a lot more out there than I thought. Because when you are stuck at home, and if there's nobody in your family who are reading books like you or similar to the ones you like, you may think that nobody in the world is interested. There doesn't seem to be anybody out there talking about certain books. So there are some people out there that are talking about this guy, James A. Michener. So it's nice to touch base with them. But there are books that I'm interested in, but a few of us aren't. And it would be nice to put them out there just to see what the reaction is, because you may find somebody who, I know that book. And it amazes me when I put my videos up, someone says, I read that. Oh, yeah, I've done that one. Bow Stratagem. I didn't think anybody would know the Bow Stratagem or even be interested. Well, Seanin, thank you, Seanin, contacted me and said, I studied that. It's just amazing. So of all the places I've ever lived and come across, even as a teacher, it's like, have you heard of the Bow Stratagem? Tumbleweed, creaking of a door, tolling of a bell, ding. But then suddenly you go into Booktube and, ding, 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 ding. All these hands come up. But in reverse, what's great is that you can be introduced to books that you're probably semi-aware of or not. So Grammaticus said when I did the Tao Te Ching, you ever read this? No, went out and bought it. So I'm going to look forward to reading that. And then it was only, and this is another thing about Booktube, occasionally you will get somebody come in that when you click on their account, they don't have any subscribers or any videos or any presence. Generally they're trolls. But one or two just seem to come in and say, what about this book? And this is one of them, the Hopkins manuscript. Never heard of it, but there it is. And it's obviously well known enough that Penguin have done a book on it. I've never heard of it. Doesn't mean that it has no presence in the world. And it's great. It's just like, wow, okay. Another dystopian book to read and report back on. Wonderful. So it's just great to get those kind of back and forths. So what I've learnt, to answer 7, there's a lot of people out there that know books far more than you do. Number 8, it's optional. Tag some of your favourite booktubers. But I think this is one of those tags that more and more people have already done. Half the problem is finding who they are. So I'm going to go on to Club 500 and I'm going to tag people there to do it by extension rather than saying directly. It will be indirect. So that's what I'm going to do. So Booktube Viewing tag. It's a wonderful thing, isn't it? And thank you, Seanin, for tagging myself. It's been a pleasure. And hopefully I've done the tag justice and yourself. So thank you very much. Go over to Seanin. Wonderful channel. So thoughtful. And he can sing. As he did on one of his videos. I would do the same, but believe me, I'd only butcher the songs, so I won't even try. Anyway, ta-ta for now.